name is Suzanne Dikker. I am a neuroscientist, and in my work I work with artists, scientists, and educators to try to bring research out of the laboratory into real-world situations. Usually as scientists we're used to really decompose what we're trying to understand into these very bite-sized chunks of small events that happen inside the laboratory, and then we lose sometimes the naturalness of what we're actually trying to study.
My name is Suzan Tunca. I'm a researcher and head of the academy at ICK Amsterdam, and I'm involved in this project with Suzanne Dikker and Mattias Oostrik since 2018. There was a decision made to integrate dance, and then we discovered that we shared some common ground, which means interest in synchrony or synchronicity. So that became then the main topic around which this project evolved.
I'm Mattias Oostrik. I do the visuals and more.
Mattias Oostrik, who's an interactive media artist, and I have collaborated on these projects for about a decade now. We build environments that allows people from the general public, and in this project particularly dancers, to explore how they achieve human connectedness.
We have Beatrice Cardone, and Victor Swank is a new dancer to the company, and Beatrice Cardone is with the ICK since a couple of years from Italy.
Over the course of the past 5 years, we've been working together to explore notions of synchrony, an umbrella term we use in my field of research, where we collect brain data, movement data, and physiological data from people at the same time while they interact with each other. And synchronicity, which Suzan Tunca can explain much better than I can.
It means the idea of dancing as one body, which is different, qualitatively different than dancing simultaneously or just doing the same movement at the same time. The synchronization of brainwaves have some kind of meaningfulness to it in relation to the connectivity between human beings. So how do we connect, which is then our main question.
So these digital screens and the combination of real bodies and digital interfaces allows people to explore both real face-to-face connections and connections through these digital means.
A responsibility to take care of the soundscape with the interaction through the music that comes from the screens.
My name is Tom van Nispen. I'm a composer and a biologist and lecturer at the HKU. Harmonic Dissonance is an interactive installation, so there are already visuals responding to the movement, for instance. And our challenge was to make interactive music to respond to this movement, but then in a meaningful way.
My name is Ivo van Dijk. I'm a composer and musician. Together with Tom, I composed and created the adaptive interactive score that is heard in the Harmonic Dissonance installation. As we are going along and developing this installation, we're also rethinking the way we are composing for this kind of collaboration in movement and sound and visuals.
Making interactive music is a challenge by itself, but then having interactive music following some narrative, which is about what Suzanne mentioned, the synchronicity, but also the disharmony, is where we're trying to find each other. And so instead of working with electronic music, personally I like it a lot to work with very organic sound and to work with real musicians.
I'm Sophie Ansems and I play the violin at this installation, Harmonic Dissonance.
By recording a lot of different building blocks consisting of acoustic instruments, so violin, we recorded some handpan, some piano, and we cut it up in all these little blocks and layers that we implemented into an interactive audio system called Emio. Yeah, what's a real fun part of the experiment for us as live musicians is like coming together with this installation and then with the dancers, which already have this choreography set out for them, and then anticipate on that.
So it's not only an installation, it's now also a performance.
In a 10-minute sequence, dancers are asked to go through similar processes as we ask our test subjects inside the laboratory. We give them instructions, now close your eyes, now open your eyes, disconnect to each other, connect to each other. These experimental conditions that we can then investigate. Are their movements more in sync during phrases that are choreographed versus phrases that are improvised, or the other way around? Their brain waves more in sync when they anticipate something that they then perform in synchrony.
And of course, from a scientific perspective, you aim for an objective kind of data stream. And of course, we, from an artistic perspective, also look for something objective, something that a common ground that we can share with each other. So in that sense, it's really an art-science project.
Implementing the feedback from the dancers on the music system, like what works for them and not, that's not something you think of just behind your computer or your instrument. So yeah, that's great fun.
The coolest thing is when you have these little accidents that the visual actually corresponds exactly with like a violin phrase. It just blends and comes together at certain moments.
The magic of art and improvisation.
We give them instruments where they can play with their social connectedness through their bodies, but also through reflections of their movements and reflections of when their brains are in sync or when their movements are in sync. And then we ask them to help us answer questions around what makes you connect, but also what the uses of the tools that we give or try to create to help us connect with each other.
So it's a very complex constellation. So this is the challenge, but also the joy of it. So there are many aspects you can fish out to focus on and to look at and enjoy, question, wonder about it.